I didn't expect the night to change everything. It was supposed to be a harmless office party. The kind you show up to, smile through, shake a few hands, and leave early. My wife had been talking about it all week. Her company's annual networking event, fancy venue, important people. She said it would be good for her career if I came. That sentence alone should have warned me. My name is Oliver Reed. I'm 39. I work logistics. Steady job. Nothing glamorous. My wife, Marissa, is 34. Marketing. Ambitious. Social. The kind of woman who lights up a room without trying. I've always been more comfortable in the background. She knew that when she married me, at least. I thought she did. The venue was downtown. High ceilings, dim lights, glass everywhere. People in tailored suits holding drinks they didn't really want. Marissa looked stunning. Black dress, confident smile. Hand resting lightly on my arm as we walked in. For a moment, I felt proud. Like, yeah, that's my wife. We hadn't been there 5 minutes when her boss appeared. Ethan Caldwell, early 40s, loud laugh, the kind of man who talks like he owns the room even when he doesn't. Marissa stiffened slightly when she saw him, then relaxed and smiled. A work smile. I noticed, but I didn't say anything. Marissa, you made it, he said, completely ignoring me at first. Then his eyes flicked over. Oh, and you must be Oliver. The way he said my name felt like punctuation, not an introduction. An afterthought. We made small talk, work projects, market trends, inside jokes I wasn't part of. I stood there, nodding, sipping my drink, trying not to feel invisible. Then it happened, subtle, almost casual. Ethan placed his hand on Marissa's waist, not a quick tap, not a polite gesture. His palm rested there, fingers relaxed, like it belonged. Marissa froze for half a second. I saw it. Anyone watching closely would have. But then she laughed, a soft laugh, didn't move away, didn't say anything. I felt heat rise in my chest. I cleared my throat. Hey? Ethan looked at me, then down at his hand, then back up. He smirked, actually smirked. Oh, relax, he said, chuckling. We're all friends here. Then he laughed, and others nearby laughed too, not fully understanding why, just following his lead. He laughed at me. That laugh did something to me. Not explosive, not dramatic. It was quieter than that. It rearranged something inside my chest. If you're still with me here, take a second and hit like. It helps the story reach people who might be living something painfully similar. Marissa finally shifted away, smoothing her dress like nothing happened. She leaned in and whispered, "Please don't make this a thing. Not here. Not here. Not now. Not ever." Apparently, I didn't argue. I nodded. That's what I've always done. Kept things calm. Kept the peace. We circulated. I smiled when I was supposed to. I listened to conversations that made me feel smaller with every minute. Ethan stayed nearby most of the night, to nearby each time he laughed. I heard that earlier one again. The one aimed straight at me, later, while Marissa was talking to a colleague. I stepped outside for air. The city hummed below, cars, sirens. Life going on like nothing cracked open inside me. I checked my phone, not because I had messages, but because it gave my hands something to do. I started asking myself questions I'd been avoiding for months. When did she stop introducing me proudly? When did her career become something I was expected to orbit around quietly? When did respect become optional? Be honest in the comments. If you were in my place, would you have said something right then? Or stayed quiet like I did in the drive home? The car was silent. The kind of silence that presses against your ears. Finally, I said, "That thing with Ethan, that wasn't okay." She sighed. "You're overthinking it. That's just how he is." "How he is," I repeated. She looked at me. "Why are you making this about you?" That question landed harder than the laugh died at home. She went straight to bed. I sat in the kitchen, lights off, replaying the night in fragments. The hand, the laugh, the way she asked me not to make it a thing. If this moment hit close to home, type the word respect in the comments. I want to see how many people understand what that line really means. I didn't sleep much. And somewhere between midnight and morning, I realized something uncomfortable. This wasn't about cheating. Not yet. It was about something quieter. Something more dangerous. Disrespect. And once that shows up, it doesn't leave on its own. If you think someone you know needs to hear this story, share it professionally, thoughtfully, because silence is exactly what allows moments like this to grow. The next morning felt strangely normal. Coffee brewed, sunlight through the blinds. Marissa moved around the kitchen like nothing had happened, scrolling her phone, answering emails. I watched her from the table and realized how easy it is for disrespect to hide behind routine. I went to work on autopilot, trucks, schedules, calls, but my mind kept drifting back to that laugh. Not loud, not cruel, just confident, the laugh of a man who knew there would be no consequences. When I got home that evening, Marissa was already there. She looked up from the couch. "You okay? You were quiet today." I took a breath. "We need to talk." She rolled her eyes just enough for me to notice. "About last night I told you. It wasn't a big deal." "That's the problem," I said calmly. "It was a big deal to me, and you decided that didn't matter." She sat up. "Oliver, you're being insecure." That word again. Insecure. Like a switch flipped, labeling me so she didn't have to listen. "I'm not insecure," I replied. "I'm married, and I expect basic boundaries." She crossed her arms. "Ethan didn't mean anything by it, but you didn't stop it." Silence. Not the heavy kind, the strategic kind. Finally, she said, "You embarrassed me by reacting. He's important. I can't afford tension at work." There it was, clearer than anything she'd said before. Her career didn't just matter more. It justified everything. That night, I slept on the couch. Not out of anger, out of distance. Emotional distance I hadn't allowed myself to feel before. Over the next few weeks, patterns surfaced once I started paying attention. Late work events I wasn't invited to anymore. Ethan's name coming up casually, often. Messages she'd angle her phone away to read. Nothing concrete, nothing I could point to and say, "There, that's it." Just a steady erosion. One evening, she came home frustrated. Tossed her bag down harder than usual. "Rough day?" I asked. She sighed. "Ethan's been under pressure. He snapped at me in a meeting." I looked at her. "Did you tell him to back off?" She hesitated. "No, that wouldn't be smart." Something in me settled then, like a final piece clicking into place. Before this goes further, I want you to comment below. Where do you draw the line? At disrespect? Or only after betrayal? Let's talk about that honestly. I didn't confront Ethan. I didn't demand apologies. I didn't issue ultimatums. Instead, I started changing quietly. I stopped rearranging my schedule around hers. I stopped asking about her day when she brushed mine off. I focused on my work, my health, my life, not as punishment, as preservation. She noticed. Of course she did. "You've been distant," she said one night. I nodded. I'm matching the energy I've been given. That confused her, and for the first time in a long while, I wasn't the one scrambling to explain. A week later, she came home later than usual. There was wine on her breath. She sat across from me at the table and said, "Ethan offered me a promotion." I waited. "It involves more travel, more events. It's a big opportunity." And I asked, "And I need you to be supportive." Supportive. The word felt heavier than it should have. "Does it come with boundaries?" I asked. She frowned. "Why are you obsessed with that?" "Because respect doesn't negotiate itself." She stood up. "You're being controlling." I didn't raise my voice. "I'm being clear." That night, she packed a small bag. "I need space to think," she said. I watched her leave without stopping her. The apartment felt different immediately, quieter, lighter, lonely, but honest. Days passed. Then weeks. Messages became logistical. Eventually, she asked to talk. We met at a cafe. Neutral ground. She told me I'd changed, that I wasn't the man she married. I smiled faintly. "Neither are you." She looked away. We didn't argue. We didn't cry. We just acknowledged what had been true for longer than either of us wanted to admit. She chose a world where I was optional. I chose not to live that way. When I walked out, I felt something unexpected. Relief. If this story made you think of someone who keeps shrinking themselves to keep the peace, share it. Sometimes perspective travels better from someone else's mouth. I don't know what happened with Ethan after that. I stopped asking questions that wouldn't change the answer. What I do know is this: disrespect doesn't announce itself loudly. It arrives smiling, laughing, with a hand placed just a little too comfortably. And if you let that moment slide, it doesn't stop there. Final thought: if you believe respect is non-negotiable in a relationship, like this video, comment with one boundary you'll never compromise on, and subscribe, because these stories exist to remind us that choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary.